You should know if your app isn't guiding users, it's losing them. Most apps stop working for a user right after they've downloaded. That's why AI automation keeps things moving for them. This is a video that's going to talk about how you can turn your mobile app into a 24-hour, 7 days a week sales machine using AI. Most apps rely on users figuring things out, and that's the biggest mistake you can make for your product. Don't be like everyone else and have users force their cognitive load onto your product. Like, that's a surefire way to tank. You want to go tap into the right, not how low can you go, how low can you go. No. So I'm gonna give you a few reasons why you should be adding AI automation into your product today. And if you're interested and you want to book a call to talk about how to build retention and scale your app, the link is in the description. Now, one of the main reasons you want to add it is to improve onboarding. Now, when users sign up and they get a greeting from your product, they want to be informed of things. It's kind of like a date or taking someone on a trip. Give them information as to how to move about. This helps orient them to where they are and what they need to do in order to get to the destination. That's the same way onboarding happens. And if you do it right with automation, it will improve 10 times over. The second thing that you improve by adding it is engagement. You want your app to be sticky. You want this to be increased in the hands of those looking to solve that problem. And when you automate some of the approaches to where you're hands off and you allow them to just experience it, that's where you win. And the last thing, you want revenue, right? This drives consistent revenue actions. When you have things set in place, when one thing triggers the next and ultimately results in more payment for you, more execution on workflows and resolutions for your user, that's when you create this money machine. And that's what we want. I know you're curious. You're curious to understand what this actually looks like in a digital product. Well, let me tell you. This looks like an automated onboarding flow. Take users through a sequence of steps to make it easy for them to understand. Now, this is different from a coaching or tooltip. This guides them more fluidly through the journey that they have when being in the presence of your product. You want to immerse them and kind of hold their hand through the process so that they can get acclimated very quickly and easily. This also looks like triggered notifications where things are happening and you get notified. This is proper feedback. These are things that show up when they need to, not unexpectedly or anything that's going to deter them off the path you want them to go on. We're looking for useful actions and information, not something that's going to take me away from that action. The last approach of what this looks like is behavioral shifts, right? We're looking at behavior-based journeys, meaning I take this action, so my user journey should execute in this way, versus I take this action and it should operate accordingly. Because they're different, they require different needs, different tools, maybe even different orientation or environment altogether. But essentially, I'm catering to where you are and serving you up those things to make your experience better every step of the way. That's behavior-based. And you can experience that. The tricky question is what? What do we do and how do we do it? You're in luck. Yes, you are. I got you covered. Unfortunately, we don't have the iPad today, but we're going to walk through it with these steps to help you get more comfortable with adding this automation. Step 1, you want to map that user journey. What does each phase look like? I've done a video on that covers each stage in that user flow. That journey happens and each are different. What is your sign-up process? What does that look like? Does a user arrive at your landing page, add some information, click the next button, go through the process? What does activation looks like? What does conversion, what does that flow look like? So each phase that you can take the user through a journey, you need to identify that. And once you get clear on what that flow is, you can then improve it. That ties into the second step. You want to identify drop-off points, churn rate, deconversion, where users don't go through the complete flow. They actually take a detour. It's kind of like driving a vehicle. You have your set ways of going somewhere, and then maybe there's construction in the way. Maybe there's an accident, and you have to detour. Where are all the drop-off points that users must go through in order to make a conversion when dealing with your product? Make it easy for them, but you identify those, and then you have something that you can really, really sink your teeth in. Step number 3, you want to set triggers. These may be milestones, okay? Maybe you have the expectation of someone completing a task within the first hour of being in your app. Well, you can set it to where that milestone hasn't been achieved, so maybe send a notification or do something to nudge a user into doing it. Maybe it's actions. They take these series or sets of actions all at once to achieve this level. And if they haven't, how do you identify that? Or it could be inactivity. Maybe they've picked it up in one moment, but then not opened it again. How do you bring them back? These are flows that you need to identify, and doing so will help you where those pain points are to start fixing them. Step 4 is where you can get crafty. This is where you want to create automated nudges or messages, if you will. You can send notifications. You can send tips, all of these things to encourage users to take some sort of action. This is that sweet spot, because once you've identified them, you figured out where they're dropping off, then you can encourage them. You can kind of guide them into coming back on the rails. It's very similar to herding cattle, where some may go off on a tangent or try to veer off, but you guide them as they move forward through the process. The 5th thing you can do is really start personalization, and you can do that with AI. You can really get crafty as to how you greet, how you speak, or even communicate with users, because you're able to cater to not only their needs, but how they've shown up for your product. And that's where personalization comes from. You can use that in your messaging and content and adjust on the fly. It's powerful. Use it wisely. Step 6, you want to test and adjust the timing. Test what messages are working. Test what personalizations and things are changing and getting users to take action. And then you might find that doing it every day may be challenging. It may be annoying. Doing it every week may be too far from where they need to complete a task on. So you need to reel it in. But the goal is to test to see what works and then adjust and cater that timing to what you're seeing. Those patterns will reveal itself, and it's up to you to really, really lean into that. All right, it wouldn't be me if I didn't give you the challenges that I've seen when doing these as well. You may feel like automating that journey or automating these messages to nudge a user. Over notifying them will leave them way more frustrated than you began, okay? Users don't want to feel inundated with messages because they get them and notifications and alerts and all of these things bombarding them all the time. So you have to find a sweet spot to encourage them to take action, but also not annoy them before doing so. It's something that you really need to experiment, because over notification can be a thing. In the same vein, poor timing could be something you be up against. Users may open their app, try to take an action, and close it. And then right around them closing it, maybe they start work. Their device is nowhere to be found. They can't just jump back in. So looking at things and really identifying where those gaps are, it's going to help you in the long run and your user feel seen in your app. And then this is a no-brainer, but generic messaging, I mean, come on. Most people now try to use chat or different types of models to comprise everything. But there's one thing to be said, using it as a tool, but don't let it do everything for you. You can start to seem robotic, generic, and not heartfelt. And that's what most users are looking for. They're looking for ways to bring them closer into products that they can champion. And if you're giving me generic messaging, I'm not sharing your product. I'm not sharing an app. I'm not sharing a blog, a link, nada. Okay? So figure that part out and you'll win. We've talked about why you should be adding those things, what it looks like, and steps to do it. Now, if you do this right, you can start to expect some changes. One would be high activation rates. This would be users actually taking action to starting your campaign, to accept the offer and move through the process, to do the things you really want them to do. You can expect it if done right, but you have to do it with care. This goes without saying. More completed actions can be a thing that you prioritize. And if you give the users the right tool to do so, that can happen and increase. And then we all want this as business owners and those who are looking to serve our user base, and that is more, stronger retention. That's the goal. Keep them there, make them feel welcome because you're serving them. And that's what your app can do. And if you do those things, that will be wonderful. That's all we have for today, showing you what joys, what benefits you can get out of creating AI automation into your mobile app. And if you want to learn how to make that secure or even add things in your search function, click this video so you can get more information on how to add AI-powered search to improve those results for your users, or click this one to learn more about engagement and gamification. As always, your life has color, so make sure to design it that way, and we will see you in the next one. Subscribe. Thank you. Take care. If your app isn't working as hard as I am, I don't want it. I don't want to click on it. I don't want to tap on it. I don't want to share it. No. That's how I feel usually.